Welcome back, you guys.
Welcome back. I am LD.
I am Percy. I was gonna say it. I am that guy, Louis. I'm still trying to figure out who I am.
Check the bottom of the screen, people.
Right, please do. And welcome back to our podcast.
Two go mics. Two go mics. How have you been this week, friend?
I have been making it this week. I have just been trying to get back in the swing of things because we just not too long ago came back from vacation, and I'm still in vacation mode, honestly. So
Yeah, I've definitely been in vacation mode. I have a lot of stuff I need to catch up on.
I know work been stacking up.
I know, both work and personal. I just been like on autopilot since last week with naps. Just napping and sleeping. And then business wise, people have been getting on my nerves like all week, so I won't get into that. But you can't please everyone.
You cannot.
We'll leave it at that. So I'm gonna have this drink.
No, I'm gonna sit with you, friend.
And I'm gonna sip to that. And tonight I'm gonna get some work done.
To that wet cow. You know who she is.
To her. Because she got blocky on. But I'm gonna catch up on some work tonight though.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm just gonna have to.
Not like work, personal things.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, I'm behind on a lot of that stuff.
No, I'm like, I don't want to go into. I feel like if you lose momentum during the spring, that's going to set the tone for the rest of the year. So I'm going to get back on it. Spring is a time for rebirth, refresh, renewal.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like the true start of the year is spring, when nature starts to grow new things. So I'm trying to grow some better habits.
I know that's right. I know that's a whole word too. I'm going to adopt it. I need that to play in the morning when I wake up.
Listen, I don't order me a calendar, like a whiteboard calendar. I have a whiteboard. I was like, let me get me a whiteboard calendar. I use like Apple Calendar all the time, but then you have to click on everything to see what the colors mean. So I just need to see it. I'm a visual person, so I need to see. Okay, bill due on the 15th. Ooh, I need to see that.
Yeah,
I need to see that because then I turn my notifications off too, so I still be missing all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, I did the same thing. There's so many distractions. There's a whole bunch of pop-ups that'll come up on your phone, and you'll be in a whirlwind of different stuff.
Let me tell you, I went through my notifications like last year and turned off 80%. And the 20% is still too much. It's still too much.
Especially with all the different apps and stuff on your phone and stuff. Crazy. Emails from work and stuff. Do you have your work tied into your phone?
I do. But only because like sometimes I might
step away.
I might have to step away. So I had a quick response.
Yeah. Same.
Like I might be sitting, I like to go like and get like pizza slices for lunch. So I might take a extended pizza slice lunch.
As you should. As you should. Look, you still available though. So.
I am. And I know a lot of people like cut work off. But even with work, I do my best thinking at night. So.
Oh no! Don't tell me you working at night too.
I don't like actually work at night, but see, I might put something on my whiteboard.
Okay.
So like if I'm sitting in my office doing something else, the thoughts will come to me for tomorrow. So I'm not like actively working, but it's just like on my mind to be like, I might see something. So it's not like work. Like I'm not responding. I don't respond after 4:30. The computer closes probably earlier than that, between 4 and 4:30. Like I don't do any actual work at night, but I idea at night, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. I won't be up at night thinking about nobody else's work. Maybe some business stuff.
True, but I don't be like. See, now I gotta clear it up. So I don't like sit up like, what can I do tomorrow? But
if the thought
hits, and I'm a visual person, so I don't write like all of my work stuff on my whiteboard, but just keep something key.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm trying to create a strategy for something, I just might put.
I get that. Yeah.
Strategy for this because like even
and
like
then you're gonna develop it later on the next day or whenever you get to it.
Right. So like if I'm reading something on the couch, if I'm playing a video game, watching something on YouTube or TV, I'm like, oh, that may go great with that. Let me table it for later. So this is kind of how I do. Because for me, if it's out of sight, it's out of my mind. Like if I don't see it, I don't. And I'm the same with the truth. Like if I can't see it, you lying.
That's bad for me.
I'm out of sight. But listen, y'all, let's get right into the political rundown. So we can't start this week's episode without acknowledging another tragedy that has happened
Yeah.
close to home.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah, in Nashville. So our thoughts and prayers and healing energies go out to that community, go out to those parents who lost their children.
9-year-old children. Yeah. And the
And
adults.
adults,
Yeah,
yes. We're three and
adults that
three.
lost their lives as well.
I, I would ask, like, where do we go from here? But it's like apparent that the powers that be don't want us to go anywhere. As you know, the state of Tennessee, well, we talked about this on the show prior, like within the last 2 years have made it open carry. So you don't even need a permit to get a firearm. You don't even need one. You don't have to have one. And
then even with that, two of the guns that she actually used during the shooting were legal weapons. Like, she went through the legal process to get them.
exactly. So that should say a lot. You know, we are looking at our Congress, our representatives now, and it's a lot of messages that include the word we're praying and our thoughts. Like I'm at the point where like you can keep it.
Right. Facts. Because it really falls on deaf ears because you're not doing anything about it. You have the power to put those policies in place, and yet and still.
I want to say that I read that our Tennessee rep is like the highest funded person in Congress from the NRA.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, she is. I want to.
That does not surprise me.
She's getting over $1 million in funding from the NRA.
This sad.
In
That's
donations. Sad. So, and I want to say her tweet was, "It's not guns, but how much medicine was she on?
Oh, girl.
How much mental health medicine was she on? How much testosterone?
Oh, she's gonna try to spend it. She about to spend it.
She spent it.
Oh my!
And that is the sickening piece. Like that's this. It's they're attacking LGBTQ rights. They're attacking mental health access. They're opening the floodgates for more weapons to enter the streets, the communities. The hands of people who really don't need them. I mean, I won't go down that path, but yeah. So that's kind of where we are. So we'll definitely keep you updated with this story. I know they're gonna try to use that she doesn't fit the profile. It doesn't matter.
What profile? I mean, the profile is somebody with AKs walking down the street or walking up to the school, that is the profile. Somebody with mass weapons they shouldn't have. That's the profile. Like,
I wish I had my phone. One news source. Let me see if I can find it. They had like a um like a like a diaphragm or a diagram of the Washington Post. So everybody, if you're out there listening, go to the Washington Post. There's an article out. It's called "What Damage Can an AR-15 Do to the Human Body?"
Oh my God!
A rare look, and it shows you like it's showing you the damage. And they got permission from two sets of parents. I want to say one from the Uvalde shooting and another parent from another school shooting to use their autopsy reports of their deceased children to show us how those bullets impact a child's body. So it's very interesting, and you should definitely go and check it out. You should go and check it out.
I definitely will. Send me the link actually, but I think it needs to be seen though. Honestly, to move forward with action because it brings me to Emmett Till and the power his mother had to have to show the state of his body after all the torture that he had went through. Same thing in this case. Those kids in not even just the kids, the adults. Like the whip can do a lot to the human body. Like
Absolutely.
dismemberment. Like that's that should not be on the streets. That needs to stay in the hands of the
Absolutely.
military.
Like the chance of you surviving a hit from AR-15 bullet is abysmal. Like probably won't compared to a single handgun. But
Yeah,
there, I don't want to go
yeah,
like
get into a
too
rabbit
deep
hole.
into that down that rabbit hole because we may have an expert at some time to come on the show and talk a little bit more about it. But honestly, I'm
Mhm.
just so tired of talking about it.
You
So
ready
tired
for
of
the
talking about
action,
it.
right?
I'm not. I mean, we need it.
Yeah.
If it ain't that, it's gonna be climate change. But
Well,
anywho, next on the agenda for the political rundown, I want to talk a little bit about Arkansas, just briefly. As you know, the governor of Arkansas is Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Do you remember Sarah?
I know her.
I know her.
I know
Sarah used
Mr.
to be White
Girl.
House
Mm-hmm.
chief communications. She used to do the White House press briefings, but she's now governor of Arkansas. She signed a bill that restricts transgender bathroom use in schools. And there's another bill she signed as well. But I want to speak a little bit about this. Everybody in their life has used a unisex bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's not impossible to create. It's everybody in their life has used a unisex
And I
bathroom.
want to add this in too, because we just came from Puerto Rico, right? Did you notice that a lot of their bathrooms were unisex? Like
Yes,
the rest of the
yes.
world, like get with it. Like go ahead. I just wanted to add that little point in there. Like
No, I just kind of feel like even from a developer standpoint, the space that you would use to create a large bathroom, you can literally make like 6 single bathrooms.
yeah,
And the creation of laws that have nothing to do, like nothing to do with our schools, our children, or the LGBTQ, just to say that you're doing something, stop it, sis. She also signed another law that rolled back like child labor laws. I have all the details, but I think it like rolled back the age for like a child to be able to like work in the state of Arkansas. You know, they have a poor state, they have a labor shortage there, but you know what kind of kids that's going to impact the most. We're going to see our
mm-hmm.
boys, brown and black boys and girls in a lot of these factories that they have in Arkansas.
Do you know the particular what age it is now? Or
I want to say it was like 14 or 15.
that's what I'm gonna say because it sounds like it's rolling back from what like probably like around
16.
16 all
Yep.
the way to like a 14. That is crazy.
Yep. And a lot of these plants have a lot of like plants and agricultural industry in their state. We're gonna see our children out there, and that's not what we need. That's not what we want. And I think she thinks she's doing something good for the economy, but you're setting it's tiring.
You can't effectively at that age work a job and get the proper education that you need. It's
and
just too
not
much
a
stress to
job
be.
and not a job that's so intensive and
Yeah.
demanding in the physical and the mental.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I have friends who worked at McDonald's, Popeyes, rallies, whatever in high school, and they had a
Boy,
hard time coming to school
that's
to
stressful
function.
because those are stressful jobs.
Right. So imagine our children out here in the chicken plant in Arkansas
You get cussed
or
out
whatever
on a
plant,
daily for fast food.
and that was at 16. So
Yeah.
I remember hiding in the bathroom at Sears when I was working
How
at
did
Sears in high
that
school. No, not the bathroom. I used to be in the dressing room at Sears on my
on
phone.
your phone?
Yeah, Lynn, you hear me? Don't call me for nothing.
Uh-uh.
I also want to take a little bit of time before we got out of the political rundown section to talk about the bank collapse that we have been witnessing. Newsflash, newsflash, PSA, do not
Mm-hmm.
go and take your money out of the bank. Okay? You're not being smart.
Slow down, girls.
Slow down. We don't want another recession.
We do
We don't
not.
want a depression. In order to create well to speed up the act of driving the economy into a recession or to trigger a depression, one of the ways of doing that is called a bank run. A bank run is when a bank collapses or a news circulates. You know how the news circulates. We got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of these
Mm-hmm.
things, and everybody goes to the bank
Breaks
to
out.
pull their money out. The banks will collapse. I'm not saying that the system of banking is perfect. It's not. But you pulling your money out of the bank collapses the bank. When the bank collapses, the tender that you hold in your hand, Those
Means
crisp
nothing.
$100 bills will mean nothing. They become worthless. And
Right.
at that point, the people with gold, silver, tradable commodities, they are the rich people. Your $100 bills, burn them.
Right.
It's fodder at this point. But let me give you
Thanks.
a little bit because I know we don't have that much time left on my segment. But March 10th was the biggest bank failure the U.S. has had since the global financial crisis. The U.S. government's FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, took control of Silicon Valley Bank. It was the biggest collapse in America since Washington Mutual in 2008, which kind of which led to the recession that we were
Mm.
going through then. The wheels started to come out 48 hours earlier when the bank took a multi-billion-dollar loss, cashing out U.S. government bonds to raise money to pay its depositors. So banks, I look at banks as like investors. You put your money in the bank in turns invest that money
Mm.
to make them money. So the bank makes money off of your money, which is and I feel like African American households, we always kind of been like untrustworthy of the bank because your money sitting in the bank really doesn't do anything for you. It does more for them. But this is just how
Yeah.
the institution is sewn into the fabric of our society. So a week later, the FDIC shut down Signature Bank after running its deposits by customers who were spooked by the implosion of Silicon Valley Bank. So now at this point, we're up to like I want to say it's like 3 or 4 banks now who
Mm.
have now crashed. Um, More than 400 billion so far in direct support from the FDIC. The Federal Reserve is on the hook for 140 million because, of course, the FDIC protects every bank account up to $250,000. So those people will still get a return on their funds. The Fed has also agreed record amounts of loans to other banks. Um, Banks borrowed nearly $153 billion from the Fed just this past month alone,
It's
smashing the
insane.
previous record of $112 billion set during the 2008 financial crisis.
So, with that being said, I know you just said a lot there.
I know, but
Okay, go
I know
ahead.
people have this. Is your money safe? Like I said, if you have less than $250,000 in any U.S. bank account, your money is safe. It is federally insured. Can you get a loan? Because later on in the show, we talk a little bit about the loan process. The short answer is yes. Stressed banks will still loan out money. All banks are still loaning out money, but it may be harder to get certain loans due to the financial crisis that the banks are going through right now. So banks may be a little bit wary about who and what they're giving out money for, giving out loans for. We can see credit become more expensive and less available.
Many y'all need to get y'all credit in order because it's gonna be valuable. But I guess what I was gonna say ask earlier, like because I feel like when we're talking about what happened, the crash that happened in 2008, like some of the same things started happening early on, like in March of 2008, but they didn't really see the impacts of the crash until September. So there's like a large gap. So here we are, almost going to enter April. Do we expect this to get worse? Do we expect to see this trend
I don't think
continue?
I don't think we expect to see this trend. I think there was a lot of things happening around that period of 2008. The bank, of course, was larger. The crash also was due to the housing market, just in general, the overall housing market. A lot of your big banks were giving people mortgages that they could not afford, and then
Bad
tried to
loans.
sell them short. Right. So, and then around the same time, you had the automobile industry was crashing, and they had to be bailed out. So it was a lot of different bailouts going on around that time. Um, Silicon Valley Bank is not a huge bank. It's a, I mean, it's still like one of the, I want to say it's like a large bank, but it's really big in Silicon Valley. So a lot of uh, these Silicon investors like use
Mm-hmm.
this bank, which is why they kind of ran and took their money out because a lot of the funding from a lot of different companies is coming from that bank, I don't know if it would get worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's going to get much worse.
So we're only up to like what, about a handful of banks that have entered
Yes,
into this territory.
so we're like two in America. Um, the Swiss bank, the Swiss National Bank, also, but that kind of affects the world market. But it just kind of shows like the trend.
Yeah. I know, because the reason I asked is just because just I went back and I looked at what went down with the 2008 crash, and it seemed like the government was kind of like reluctant to sharing that information, even though they knew what was going to happen. Which makes sense because if you do say
It
that, then it's
does
like, okay,
because,
well, you're gonna do just like you said, go run and take that money out the bank.
and they are going to be hesitant because when things like this happen, the federal government has to bail them out.
Right.
So optics, you're looking at an industry that probably needs to be a little bit more regulated, kind of doing what they want to do, and then the government with taxpayer money then has to go and bail out an industry. So it never looks great. And then you turn around and the regulations do not increase on the industry to keep these things from happening again. So kind of like a double-edged sword like that. I'm sure they don't want to bail them out, but then again, if you don't, instead of a recession, you're looking at another Great Depression.
Depression.
Yeah. But that's all that I have for the political rundown this week. Be back with more news that you can use next week. And we're gonna get into one of
More
our
news you can use.
I know. That just came to me off the top of my head. So we'll be
Love
back
it.
next week with more. With more. Okay, friends, so your ears to the street. Tell us what's going on.
What has been going on in the streets, child? I guess we could start with Jonathan
I'm
Majors.
distraught.
I know,
I am
I know,
distraught. Distraught.
I know. But before I even run down the case, like I just want to say to everybody, like I know social media, everybody, you get the storyline, you get the headline, and you're just so ready to. You already have made up in your mind what happened, and you've painted somebody guilty. Chill, sis.
We have to though. We have
Chill.
to.
It's you can
We
hold somebody
have to.
accountable, but at the same time, you got to wait on the actual evidence.
Women have been wrong for so long that
Yeah.
you have to shoot first and ask questions later.
But we do know. Well, child, I'm not even. I'm not even. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no
And now
smoke.
your old school grandma used to say,
I'm a,
I'm a whoop your butt. And then I'm gonna ask you about what happened. That's what we
Ooh,
have to do in this situation.
child. Well, let me keep
I'm
myself
hoping for
out
the
of
best
trouble.
though.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. But so
For
for
all
those of you who
parties,
don't
Lord.
know, Jonathan Major is facing assault and harassment charges. Records show that Majors was arraigned on Sunday in New York City courtroom on several assault and harassment charges, a day after he was arrested in connection with a domestic dispute.
Mm.
According to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the 33-year-old actor was charged with assault, attempted assault, harassment, and aggravated harassment. Further complaint provided to BuzzFeed News, not provided to Percy, but provided to BuzzFeed. The victim allegedly told the police that Major struck her about the face with an open hand, causing substantial pain and a laceration behind her ear. She also said that he grabbed her hand, causing swelling, bruising, and substantial pain. Finger. She goes on to say a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not even finna feed into that. But Major's lawyer also released a statement on Sunday saying that he is completely innocent and is provably that the victim actually started the altercation, meaning that the white woman who's making all these
His
claims,
girlfriend.
his girlfriend, who happens to be a Caucasian woman,
Uh-huh.
is the one who actually started this whole altercation.
And CNN did report that he was the one who called the police as well.
Absolutely.
So they're not updating this story fast enough for me.
I know, especially if you have video proof and stuff like that, because they say that they have video proof and all of that too, you
And
guys.
witnesses. So
And a witness.
I'm just keeping my mouth shut. I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, so
Good luck to both of them.
oh, and I would be
Child.
remiss if I didn't say that the victim also recanted her statement allegedly as well. That's what the streets is saying. I don't know. We don't know. So let's just hold our britches and wait till we get some more intel.
Listen.
Jonathan Mays, you better not been smack this lady up now.
Cause then you got to be smacked.
Cause it.
And I'm gonna be sad to smack you, but you.
Right, you're gonna have to go.
I have no more. Like
But
I
we're
was
not there
just,
yet.
I have no more thoughts.
We're not there.
I'm still distraught. So.
All right, so let's move on to some more drama that's been in the streets. Candy versus Latasha, her own group mate in Escape. They both are on the show called SWV and Escape, the
I need
Queens
to
of
catch up.
R&B.
I need to catch up.
I know, me too.
I'm like an episode or so behind.
How many episodes is it? It's 6 altogether, right?
Wait, no. I mean, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. I've seen 2 of them.
Okay, yeah. So I've only seen 1. I think it's 6 episodes altogether, but they've only released
4.
Oh, I'm way behind it. Okay. Well, these girls are fighting, of course. Latasha takes a shady dig at Candy singing her actual voice. She's not the only person to actually shade Candy's voice. I think Tamar was in the news this week for also shading Candy's voice. What she said, she got to sound like a Billy Goat or something like that. I don't have nothing to do with it. I ain't in it. But so Latasha, she goes and she makes a YouTube video to speak on the events that happened during the episodes that were released so far on the Queens of R&B. And so she speaks to Candy. She's talking about Candy and their beef that they actually had.
I saw the video.
You seen the entire video?
I saw the entire. I watched it. It looked like somebody was doing this.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Next card.
And then the editing too. She edited the video. Yes. Like when Candy goes and she does her speak on it,
it's straight through.
It's straight through. But Latasha, like, baby, it just gave like his what's her husband name? Rocky. Rocky's in the back like this. Straight. And don't forget to say the entire time.
Next card. Didn't believe not a piece of it. Unfortunately, did not believe.
Baby, she read that entire thing. But anyway, she was shading Candy, pretty much saying that Candy can't sing, and then she played that video of Candy actually singing. And Candy, no shade, girl, she picked a video of you where you didn't sound your best. That was actually hilarious though. Like,
here's my thought on the whole, because this has been coming up that Candy can't sing, Candy can't sing, Candy can't sing. Listen, as a person of color, we know your singers come from the church. We know who they are. You get down. We know who our favorites are, who got their voice that we are always going to be used to hearing. Yeah. I also think there's a subsection of people who don't have that, like Baptist. They ain't doing all the runs. They can't get down, but they have a very unique tone and voice. Mm-hmm. Now, for Candy not to be a singer, like, people are alleging she was a part of this group that made millions, have sold millions, had a solo thing.
With you.
With
Latasha.
Right. Leading on a lot of y'all's songs. Mm-hmm. So, pick something else. I don't want to pick something else. It's kind of like, we just keep hearing it. Pick something else. Pick something else. I ain't saying she the best, but pick something else.
Yeah.
It's a few other folks out here who I could name that I think sound way worse.
Oh, you know what? And then Candy, she threw a whole shade tree at Latasha back and pretty much told her, like, hey, what you're trying to do, ma'am, I've already done it. Speaking on her releasing the gospel single that went, number 1? I believe it went number 1 on Billboard for the gospel chart. And that's what Latasha, I think her album comes out in April sometime for Good Friday or something like that. You're trying to achieve what Candy has already done, man.
Exactly.
So it's like you're still shading this lady who still have accomplished more than you.
I've seen like the new pictures of Escape without her. The pictures look great. I've seen them.
Oh, that was shade.
No shade. I'm just saying, like, the marketing for the group moving forward with 3 members, it looks great. I've heard them like sing together. They sound good. I've heard her project. I liked it. Like at this point, just make the split.
Just peaceful. It's gonna be
and go and get.
Right. I do hate Latasha and Tamika. They're still going through their issue.
Like, where her
Right?
money? Cut that check.
And she spoke. Latasha. She spoke on that too on her YouTube video, and pretty much said that she did not. She denied stealing the money, of course. And
I need her husband to say it.
He the one who told her to say that. This is her husband speaking to us.
I need Rocky to roll to the front. Skip to the front.
He gets sister her money, and
gets her money. Your husband took her money. I'm firm believing.
It's good TV.
It's good TV.
It's good TV.
I hate it though because they're like real siblings. But just watching Latasha in different situations, something ain't clicking. It's not clicking.
Right? And it's the mom too for me though. It's just the whole family.
The mom is giving very much toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. But honestly, a lot of people's moms are like that.
Yeah.
Not mine, but.
Oh, not mine either. Period. See, now we're not play that.
Hey, yo.
But anyway, so off of this situation, do you have anything else you want to say about the Queens of R&B? Anything you want to touch on?
No.
You want to go into it, Chad? New music. I want to get into some new music that dropped. Chad, have you heard the Don't Play With It remix?
Fire. Do you hear me?
Fire.
I watched the video. Did you see the video?
Don't play with it. Don't play. I did.
The video was fire. This is what
they look good.
Everybody look good. They sound good. The video looked fun. It didn't look like they were forced to be there. This is the era of women in hip hop that I like.
Step into this. We need more of this.
That's it.
That was it. And you know what? Lola kind of slick, and I know this is premature, but at the same time, she slick gave me Lil' Kim vibes, like with how she was moving, her voice, and how deep it was, like how tiny she is. It was just the whole vibe of it. It was just so New York.
It was.
And I absolutely loved Carisha verse at the end. Like she fucking. I just love
Carisha. I just love Carisha.
No shade with it. No shade with it.
Carisha does. She does her thing. She don't bother nobody. She stays in her lane. She's not up here fighting to be the number one rapper. She's just doing what she likes to do, and I love it.
Right.
Same. I like Lotto. She's young. Yeah. She's a lyricist. I know some of the girls gonna come out the Big Lotto, but she can rap. Nobody can deny that. She is a talent. She's making very.
And she look good too.
She looks good. I see she's putting out a lot of crossover hits. I love that for her. She's got a name out there, so just continue. I don't have no hate for nobody.
Right.
I love it. I want to see everybody win.
Right. This the vibe. Keep this type of vibe. Girls, take notes from this song and that whole collaboration. It was a good one. And also, I did want to give a nod to Coco Jones. Her album just released. It's called What I Didn't Tell You. And it's only 6 songs on the album, which I thought was actually refreshing because people really don't have time to listen
to 20 songs.
Yes, y'all be trying to stuff all them songs on the album, child. I ain't gonna listen to nothing about 3 or 4.
I don't need an A and a B side. We're in 2023. Yes. Our patience is dwindling.
It's very thin, and you can blame social media for that.
You're Beyonce. That's the only person I'm going
to Beyonce, I got time. You can drop that hour-long album, and
you can drop an audiobook worth of music, and I'm gonna listen to all the songs. Everybody else,
hang it up, girls.
Hang it up.
But yes, Coco Jones.
I'm gonna listen to it.
Please do.
I'm gonna listen to it. I like Coco.
That R&B that she gives is so natural and it's so good to the soul. Like the songs, like I was able to digest each and every last word of the song. Like it's just a vibe. She had vibes on there, and then she also just had most of these like good slow R&B songs. Like you just missed that type of music, but it was good. Like definitely. Quality.
I'm gonna listen. I saw an interview of her on the Breakfast Club. She had a Breakfast Club interview. I loved her. She does a great job on Bel Air. Excited to see like where she continues to grow in her career.
Absolutely.
She's a good person. She gives a lot of like good energy.
You can just tell, can't you?
Yes. And
those you can tell when you're faking it too.
Those are people that I like. Just genuinely good energy. Good people.
Yeah, she's a girl. So check out Coco Jones' album, and if you haven't listened to the Don't Play With It remix, go watch the video. Amazing. Brandon, did you have any other topics you want to add to the
I want to talk
streets?
about Iyanla.
Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, I forgot
Iyanla
about Miss Iyanla
Van Zant.
Banzant.
She had an interview on the Breakfast Club where she was asked, what does she think about people, wanting to be in polygamous relationships? Her response probably caught everybody off guard. She said she's with it. She's at an age in her life where she is with it. She hopes the woman is younger, in her 40s, so the man won't be at her house all the time, using up all her toilet paper
I know this right.
and taking up her space and her energy. She's with it. She kind of went into deeper detail. She was talking a lot about how in her earlier years she was very insecure with herself. So it's not something that she would be able to handle. But her being the age that she is, having the life that she's lived, she has a better understanding of it, and it's something that she can do. Now she says she does not do cheating, but she says she's old enough to have a conversation with whoever she's going to be in a relationship with and decide that this is what works best for our relationship. So she's with it. She's with it. I think they're kind of surprised
The
um,
community.
the community because Ayala has been on, Ayala put her foot in backsides for the
Mm-hmm.
past 10 years about some of the decisions that families making, people have and how that impacts their family. So, what do
Oh,
you
that's
think about it?
interesting. That's interesting. What I think about Iyanla,
Yeah.
child, that's why I don't listen to. You can't take advice from everybody, but she be making some good points on her shows. But
No, and disclaimer, she said she's not encouraging anybody to go out and do this. She doesn't want people to go out and do it. She's told them, she said, you asked me about my
what works
personal
for
life.
me?
This is what works for me. Monogamy. She said, if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. I'm speaking on me. So she did put out a very large disclaimer that she's not encouraging the community to go out and be polygamous. But it kind of brings up a lot of different discussions, about, where monogamy came from and how we kind of existed before we got here. But
I mean, I get the polygamy standpoint anyway. I get any type of
can you
relationship.
do it?
Can I do it? I'm not at a place where I can do it. 'Cause I don't feel like I would have. I don't feel like I'll have enough time or energy to put into multiple people. Like just dealing with one person is enough. But I can understand how she's to a point in her life where she's ready to give a little and not too much. So maybe polygamy makes sense for her. But I'm with any type of relationship
That works for you.
that works for you. Like whatever rules you have set, then as long as you have those ground rules set and y'all both have to understand it, then this relationship.
Yep.
Every relationship is different. So
It is.
I'm here for it. I'm here for her being in a polygamous relationship, but I'm not here for that contradictory stuff that she was doing with the whole, you know.
What's up?
I'm saying like if she was telling, didn't you say she was telling her clients one thing?
No, I don't think she
Oh,
was telling
okay.
her clients one thing. I was just saying like it shocked people because of how she's
Just
so
because she's
for
young.
family. It's Iyanla.
Okay.
She's like this pillar of upholding what it means to be like a black family.
Okay.
Um, but a lot of that is her like battling toxicity within whoever she's working with at the time. With this situation, like
This is just her
it's just
life.
her. Like there's no toxicity
Okay.
involved in that.
So I
It's not affecting
misunderstood
any
this.
small. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I
So
misunderstood this. So yeah, I'm all the way here for it.
I
Then,
can do it. I think I can do it.
You don't think so?
Polygamy. Polygamy truly means that you have. Polygamy is more than like sex. It's like you're in a relationship with
Right.
multiple people. It's hard to be in a relationship with one person.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm tired now. I can't do multiple people. But shout out to the people who can and they've got it all figured out. They've got their village. They're doing what they do. I don't have energy.
Thing.
I had energy.
But then I would want to actually follow that. I wonder if like she would get a show and share her polygamous relationship.
But she
Like that'd be
said
interesting to see.
her ex-husband was a polygamist.
Okay.
They were not in a polygamous marriage, but the marriage that he came out of, the relationship he came out of before they got together was a polygamous one. But she just was not open to it at that time.
I hope they ain't get no divorce because of it. And then now she come out, I'm acceptable of polygamy.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like she said, like that. Those type of things are a conversation between us, where agreements are made
going into
it. If you going outside and we have not talked to discuss it, that's cheating.
Right.
Because there's no understanding. I don't know what you're doing. It's deceitful. It's still a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, hey, this is where I am. This is where I can meet you. What do you need? Da, 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 da. Right. Not me. I can't do polygamy.
Get somebody else to do it.
Ever.
Get somebody else to do it.
But I'm open to people who do. I don't have a problem with that. I'm a lover of life and people.
Right, just to live. Do y'all without the judgment and all that good stuff.
I don't know. Was there any?
Well, that's all we got for the streets, friend.
That's all we got for the streets. All right.
Streets,
well, let me get back up on the sidewalk.
Get on up here.
All right, y'all. So our next segment is in our bag. You know, in the in our bag segment, that's when we have deeper conversations on topics that kind of affect us or the community. This is our first guest.
Very first guest.
So if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to see a change of location. You're going to see a change of clothes, a change of type of day. You know, in production, they film things and we kind of mash them together. Yeah. So over the weekend, one of my best friends in the entire world came onto the show to talk about his experience being in a gay couple, you know, as part of the community, LGBTQ, and buying a home with his partner outside of marriage. So he's going to talk about what the process was like, how he felt, how they came to make the decision, how they ensured that both of them have some ownership in the home. And it's a great and wonderful conversation.
Great conversation, great interview. Gave great answers. Like if someone's actually looking for a home, it's a great conversation to listen in on. If someone who has a partner, you're doing it out of the norm, you're doing it in a different way. Great way to get insight on that.
Absolutely, especially we'll talk about it. You'll hear it again when LGBTQ rights are being attacked all across the country. Mm-hmm. So for them to not be married and have taken this journey and seen it through, they're just going to share their experience. So yeah. We hope you learn something from it. If you don't and you know someone who's interested, I hope you share it. And let us know in the comments or shoot us a message on Instagram. Let us know what you thought about it. We'll have more guests to come.
Yeah, stay tuned. We got some great topics coming along too, so.
Okay. So without further ado, here's Jeremy.
All right, you guys, welcome back to our podcast. I am Percy.
I am LD. And today we have a guest.
We have a special guest.
We have a special guest. This is Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hello, everyone.
Hand claps. And you guys are watching.
Insert the hand claps into
insert the hand claps. And you guys are watching Two Gold Mics. Or you're listening to
Two Gold Mics.
Absolutely.
So we have a very special guest here today. We'll let him talk a little bit about himself. Tell him your name, Jeremy.
So I'm Jeremy Hughes. Born and raised in Mississippi. And I currently work in education for the state.
Yo, this is one of my best friends in the entire world. We told you all that we were going to have special guests, talking about different topics. So today we're going to talk about home buying, the home buying perspective and process for gay couples or for any couples.
Yes.
As you know, we've talked the past few weeks during the political rundown about the attack on the LGBTQ rights. So, and to be honest, we've only been able to get married for almost 10, 15, maybe 10 years at this point. So not even that.
Yeah.
So we don't know how long it's going to last. But we know there are a lot of couples out there in partnerships and loving relationships who may have thought about buying a home. And we know marriage makes the process easier. But let's say that you are not married and you don't want to get married. Jeremy has been through this process. And he's going to tell us, he's going to take us down through his his journey. Disclaimer:
I
this is
mean,
not the only. This
he
is not the
got a
only
story to
way.
tell.
No, it's a journey.
This is this is not the only way that you can go through this process,
Yes.
but we thought it would be very informative to bring someone who has their perspective and their insight and went through his way. So before we even jump into all of that, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. It's it's the weekend now, and I'm happy. Yeah, I'm good.
Friend, how you
Excited.
doing down there on the end?
I'm doing pretty good.
How was your week, friend?
You know, I didn't do anything this week. I'm still on vacation in my head, so I really got to get out of that. So I'm just getting started up this weekend. So I'm getting back into the groove.
You'll probably
This is
hear
good.
how we're doing twice. If you would notice, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we're in a different space. Whenever we have guests, we bring them to a larger space to kind of accommodate. So bear with us on the lighting. Y'all know we chocolate and we newbies.
It's a lot of chocolate.
It's a lot of
A lot
chocolate.
of chocolate.
A lot of
It's a lot
milk
of
chocolate.
chocolate. And a little dark salted caramel on the left end over here.
Come on, dog. Come on, salted caramel.
So bear with us on the lighting, but I'm doing pretty good today.
Good.
Work was hectic. I always hate coming back from like vacation.
Yeah, it's hard to switch and transition.
It's very hard to transition. And then I just got a lot of things on my plate that I need to do.
Yes, Lord.
So let's get into the topic at hand: the home buying process for a gay couple or a queer couple. So, friend, talk to us about how this even came to fruition. So, what was the thought process between you and your partner?
So I guess my partner and I have been together for a while now, and bought a dog. And I think that kind of like sparked it.
It started with the dog.
It started with the dog. The dog needed a place to run. The dog needed a place to get out, get all her hyperness out, and living in where we were at the time just didn't offer that ability.
Mhm.
So that allowed us to be like, all right, we need a yard. With the yard comes a house. And we know with rental prices, if I'm going to pay that much to rent a place, why not I go through the process and buy that I have my own
Because you got to pay
place.
pit fees and stuff like
Exactly.
that. when you
And the
rent as
rental
well.
prices,
Exactly.
the housing market in Memphis is pretty good. The rental prices ridiculous.
Grief. Fucking
Right.
Ridiculous.
So with all of that, it was like, all right, so let's just start this process. It was in the middle of the pandemic also. And so at that point, the housing prices were really low. So it seemed like a good time to get into the housing market. So yeah, Ginger, the dog, sparked it off.
Ooh, see, I got a dog.
So you know his next friend. You already
No,
got a dog.
let me tell you, the dog and my man, they got a relationship. I just was like, what are y'all coming up with?
Right?
What's going
They
on?
trying to
over
trap you, friend.
there? They really are. Like, they in cahoots. And
Mhm.
I don't like it. So I may be next on the journey.
Well, let's get the intel from
Okay.
you. So, what was the actual process like for you all while you were shopping? Like, were there specific things you were looking for in a home when you were trying to buy?
So I think it kind of evolved over time. I think at first we knew that we wanted a house and we wanted one that had a yard.
Mhm.
But I think the more we looked and began to see what was out there on the market, what we wanted began to change. So, for example, we know, of course, a yard. We wanted space
Mhm.
because we had lived in an area where we were so close to people. We were tired of being on top of people.
Mhm.
And then a place that we could, a place that we knew that over time would build equity in our homes. So that if we ever wanted to sell it, we could have money back.
Mhm.
So those were kind of the three major things. And then from there, we got a little bit more nitty as far as what we wanted or what we had to make concessions on.
Okay. And let me ask you this, because I know a lot of gay people or queer people, they're in situations where their families are okay with them being gay.
Right.
So the idea of like buying a home with someone makes it a little more real to a lot of people. So how was your family in this process?
I say both sides of the family were welcoming. Like my family sees my partner as they like him better than they like me. They ask about him. Right. They ask about him more than they ask about me. But I also can say that I feel the same way about his family. So when we said that we were going to start that process, they were like, "Oh, well, great. What can we do to help? How can we help? Give you any information or any insight? What can we do to make sure that your plan or your dream can come to fruition?"
I love that
That's
for you.
beautiful. Yeah,
That is. My grandma, like once she buys you house shoes, you're in. Every year you get a pair of house shoes. She bring out every year.
Now I gotta ask.
I was about to ask.
Did Karen get his house shoes yet? Child? Working on it. Okay.
Working on it.
We wait. Okay.
It's not that he did not get them, but okay. So this is what she does. Every year she get that belt catalog, and my grandma is a belt. Like she keeps them in business. Shout out to Sister Belt. She gets the belt catalog, and she like kind of adds what's everybody shoe size. So she is mid carry. She likes carry. I know this because one day she was like, "Where is he?" I was like, "Who? Kid? Where he at?" I was like, "Okay, well he got his own. He has his own family. We're from the same, right?" And then it's different for us because we're from the same city.
Yeah.
So whereas like for holidays, like he's at his mom's, and then he's an only child as well. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard for him to mix his family's thing because it's just him and his parents. And yeah. He's around. He has seen her since several places, so we're good. He'll definitely probably get house shoes this year. I don't think last year.
Grandma, I need my house shoes too.
Listen, and last year we didn't do a traditional Christmas, so nobody got house shoes. We went to Disney World. So
yeah, that's right.
Nobody got house shoes, but he's definitely on the house shoe list. She is sitting there text, what's your shoe size? Just know you're getting a good pair of $30 slippers.
From good old Bill.
Shout out to Bill.
So let's get back on track, you guys. There was a little commercial. We are commercial break.
It was me. I'm the villain.
So approximately how long was the process for you? Like just start from finish? Ooh. Like just... Because I know it's so many different steps you have to go through in this home buying process.
Give us the estimate and then start to break it down.
Yeah, break it down.
Okay, so I will say, so we started...
Because I want a home.
Okay, I think ours is different because we actually built a home. So we had to buy and then build. So I think we started looking around 2020, about the winter of 2020. And we went in and kind of went to the mortgage brokers and things like that. And that's one thing I will say, that if you're going to start the process, that you look for a mortgage broker because they're able to shop around for different loans for you.
Let me ask you a question. So the mortgage broker before the real estate agent?
Yeah, I did that process because I did a lot of just on my own research, and I found out that brokers can shop around and they can find you the best loan versus the real estate agent sometimes they're more in the interest of, let me go find your home so I can get paid, but if they don't know the price point of where you are, it's kind of like a waste of time for them if they don't know. So I started with them first. And so we started there, got an estimate of what we needed, and then we went and found a real estate agent. And let's just say, it's like a real estate agent is like shopping for a therapist. The first one may not work out. Wow. And you may have to get a second one. And our second one, she did an amazing job. So shout out to Dominique, who's over at Remax in the Memphis area. She is absolutely amazing. She is the reason why we got to the finish line.
And thank you for pointing that out. We talk about that here. Like I think even like you mentioned therapy. Like even with therapists, tell people like if the first one doesn't work out, you can get another one. I've had other friends who buy homes who just kind of stuck it through with their real estate agent because they didn't want to be, they didn't want to have to take steps back into their process. So thank you for being brave on their front as well to say that, hey, the real estate agent is not working out.
Girl, you ain't cutting it. We got to get somebody else. That's what he said.
Dump it. Pump it and dump it. Yeah.
Look, advocate for yourself.
Advocate for yourself.
Advocate for
yourself. Homework for last week was what? Advocate for yourself.
Advocate for yourself.
So make sure you do that.
And I guess to go back to your original question, the whole time, I guess we just closed in September 2022. So it took about a year and a half to get through that whole process. Again, we did build, so that did take a little bit of time off the process. But yeah, and so I learned a lot in that. I learned a lot about credit, about the process. I learned a lot that I feel like I should have learned way before we started.
Did the mortgage broker like do an assessment of where you are and tell you where you needed to be?
Yeah. So when I looked and I was nervous because when you were like, okay, I want to buy a home, and you're like, okay, how much can I qualify for? That's intimidating because you work really hard, you make what you think is a decent amount of money, and so when someone says that you only qualify for this amount or this is what you qualify for right now, that can be almost like a shock to your system. So the broker was like, okay, when we went in December, he was like, these are the things that you need to do if you want a home. And so I just took that information and I started researching. I went, for example, I joined the Shonda Martin has a group on Facebook called The Road to 750. I learned a lot about credit there, about building my credit and why credit cards are important. I learned that the credit score, there are different credit scores that qualify you for a home. So like the FICO 8 score is the one that you need to look at because that's what's going to qualify you for a home. You have to have a middle score. So it's like all those things that you don't know, I had to learn. And so doing the mortgage broker was definitely helpful. Even though at that time I didn't qualify, I knew what I had to work on. So I knew the goal in order to be able to qualify for the type of home that I want.
Oh, that's very good insight. Earlier in this episode, we talked a lot about the bank collapse, the Silicon Valley Bank, and a few other banks. Banks now are going to be a little bit harder on who they lend money to. So the credit, getting your credit in order, getting your finances in order, that's very good advice. What's the name of the Facebook group? Because I want to join.
So the Facebook group is Shonda Martin. It's called Road to 750. She has courses. She has on YouTube. I will say I know for like 3-4 months. That's all I did was watch her stuff on Facebook or watch her YouTube videos because I will say the quickest way that I moved my credit score was using my credit card and using it effectively. And that was totally separate of the mortgage process, but that's what helped me qualify for more. And then I joined the first time homebuyers group, which I think is Ariel Hammond or Harmon is the group administrator. And I went in there and I just did a lot of research. So I did a lot of personal research because I was like, okay, this is what we want. I got to take a couple steps on my own in order to get there because no one's necessarily going to lead you. They're going to lead you, but not force you or force feed you every step of the way.
Absolutely, and we'll put all the names of the Facebook groups. We'll put the names of all these things in the comment. In the description on YouTube. On YouTube, so if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, go to our YouTube page, find a video. You'll see all the details.
And I love how you started off. Just even talking about credit because a lot of people don't realize how important your credit is when you're going to make a big purchase like that. And I just want to ask. Like, could you speak on like the debt to equity ratio as well?
Yes.
Because I know that's a big part of buying a home as well.
So if I remember correctly, I think you can't have more than like 41% debt compared to your income. And so when you go to the mortgage broker and they say, okay, this is what you qualify for, but these are the negative things that are affecting your account. So like if you do have credit card debt, it's okay. Like I learned that my student loan debt is actually helping me because it's adding to my credit age. Okay. So that's going to help me in the overall loan process. And then I learned that when you're qualifying, the way they qualify you for a loan is that they look at your debt and then they say, if you qualify for this amount, how much is this going to take you over a certain percentage? So all those things come into effect. So like the cars that we buy, the credit card debt that we have, all of that is important because they look at that over time in comparison to how much you can buy.
And I have a follow-up question to that. So is this a journey that you took alone as far as like repairing your credit, or did you take this with your partner? So was your partner on like the same groups, kind of taking the same advice?
So to answer that question, I guess
was he already there?
Well, to say that, I think I was the one that was in the more of the financial position to qualify for the loan, and that's what I read about. Like, when you are with a partner, are you even married? Like, which one do you do? One person? Do you do both people on the loan on the mortgage? And so I read that sometimes it's better to do one versus both.
That's what I was thinking too. I've heard that too. Because just even thinking about the process, I'm like, okay, you can. So you want to tie up both of y'all credit line.
Exactly. because both of your credit, if you put both of your credits on the mortgage or on the loan, then your both people has it has to be pristine in order for you to qualify. And so I guess he left that up to me because he was doing other things to help the process along. And so I took that journey along. There's a lot of things that I did by myself. I downloaded the My Fico app, which gives me a breakdown of my credit score, and I still have it.
You have to pay for that, or
it's a 30. So you can do two things. There's a 39-month subscription where it updates your credit profile every month, so you can see what's affecting your credit, and then you can pay for it quarterly. Because I learned that what I found was important was I was like, okay, you're telling me that my credit score is this, but I see this. And it's like, well, you're using the wrong thing. So I was using Credit Karma, or Credit Karma is the Vantage score. They want you to use your FICO score.
For FICO 8.
You want to use your FICO 8 score. And so what my FICO does, if you want a credit card, it'll show you the score that lenders will use to qualify you for a credit card. You want to buy a car, they have a certain credit score for that. So I learned all of those things. That's why I say the process was more beneficial than just buying a house, because I learned about finances and how all that impacts how I live and what I want to buy.
Right, because you gotta know how to play the game. Because if you don't know how to play that credit game, it keeps us behind so much.
And so many people don't want to touch credit because they say, "Oh, it's such a bad thing." But no, the world literally runs on credit and a credit score.
Right.
So Percy's right. You got to learn how to play the game. Play it.
All right, so now I just want to get into the bidding. How daunting was that for you all?
Okay.
Wait, before you get into the bidding, I know you talked a little bit about it, but how was the market? Was the market buyers or sellers market?
It was a seller's market. Okay, so when we started, even before we decided that we were going to,
and this is COVID.
This is COVID. This is when interest rates 2%. Okay, so I would tell my agent,
okay.
Yes. Yes. And so I would tell my agent,
Baby blue.
So I would tell my agent, So my partner and I both, we were looking on Zillow, we were looking at all the apps and say, oh, we like this house, we like this house. We would text our agent and we were like, okay, we want to go see this house. We would make our schedule work. He would go before work, I would go after work. But you could put a house on the market at 7:00 in the morning, it would be gone by 12.
Really?
And it would go $50,000, sometimes $60,000 over asking price.
Demand was insane.
Yeah, so that has
rent was increasing around the time too.
Exactly.
So
right.
Didn't hit.
Right. Okay. So it's cooled down since then because interest rates have gone up. But there were many. There was the first house that we wanted. We went in, I think, $20,000 over asking, $40,000 over, $30,000 over asking, and it wasn't enough.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
But I believe that because my coworker at the time had, I'm not gonna give her, but she was a substantial. Her and her husband, they had a substantial amount of money that they qualified for to spend on the house, and they could not find a house. Every house, they were getting outbid to the point where I would go in the office in the morning. I found this house, lunch. Child, I'm just finna stay where I'm at.
Man. That is horrible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a nightmare.
And you mentioned renting. Let me tell y'all renter something. Let me tell y'all property management company something. Don't raise my rent if you ain't touched the paint, the carpet, the appliances. I ain't got no pool.
Everything
it's trash
regular.
Everywhere. What's the
to all the landlords?
To all the landlords out here.
Elevator.
I don't care what the market is doing. What are you doing for me?
Period.
You hear me? The gate broke every 3 days.
Go off, friend.
I'm tired of it.
Go off.
I don't feel safe.
Go off.
Where are my deductions?
Seriously, cable off.
Cable off.
Wi-Fi.
Internet don't work. Pipes froze.
Refrigerator don't work. And yes, I said refrigerator.
The trash on the ground. Who's picking up this trash?
Yeah.
Do you hear me? I went to get DoorDash the other day. I'm taking us off a beaten path.
I
went to get DoorDash, y'all. I walked up to the front of my complex. Now, mind y'all, stay in the back. It's a fully gated complex. You can't. There's no call box. So in order to let people in, you have to actually go and let them in because I'm in a renovated kind of area in downtown. So gentrified. Y'all know. Yeah.
Right.
It's renovated and gentrified, so you know what the surroundings are, my people. But anywho, I walk out the pedestrian gate to get my Chipotle, and I couldn't get back in. I had to
Was your
stand my
car
butt.
approved?
No, the gate. The gate
just
didn't
didn't
work
work.
from the outside anymore. I had to stand my butt out there like a car and wait on the car gate to open.
Not like a car.
Like a car. I'm just in here waiting on the gate to let me in the pedestrian gate.
I can see this.
Y'all, right off of a busy street. So I'm looking
Yeah.
crazy. I ain't got no
If
clothes.
you from Memphis, popular. Like
Popular.
everybody
You know how
popular.
busy.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I know these folks watching my backside because I'm sitting here waiting on this gate for the car to open.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, ran on a tangent, but yeah, the rental girls are. Oh, well, the market has increased, so we're gonna raise your rent.
And they raised nothing. They ain't raised a hammer.
Raise these white appliances up out of these folks' home.
Period.
Do that.
Right.
Raise a coat of paint.
Not a white refrigerator.
Ah!
Ooh, let's go find you a home.
Let me tell you something. Nene leaks ruined. Nene,
she ruined white refrigerator.
Single-handedly ruined white appliances.
I refuse to have a white
appliance. She has ruined it. Do you hear me? For the girls, the white.
Talk about impact.
Talk about the impact of a housewife.
Right.
The housewife. She single-handedly ruined the white appliance industry. Let's go get you one.
You know what? Nene might need to, drop her appliance line.
Drop an appliance line.
I think she needs to get in her candy bag
in multiple colors, just not white. Yeah. Just not white. I'm sorry,
white.
I had to go on a tangent about the property management companies all over the world who are doing this so dirty.
Yeah. So let's get back on track, you guys.
Let's get back.
I want to ask about finding a lender for your loan. Like, how was that process?
So I will say, I'm just kind of reflecting on the process. Like the first time we went with a bank, didn't really like that too much, and so when we
was it your own personal bank, or did you just like use someone that the mortgage broker?
So I just when you start the process, like, a bank should be able to give me a decent amount, to apply for a home. And then, like, being a part of those groups, I learned that I went with a mortgage lender. When we finally decided that there's no house on the market that we like or that we're willing to pay for because it's going to put us in a bad situation in the future, when we decided to be like, all right, we're going to build, we told our real estate agent, and she was like, okay, great. She was like, now I want you to use this lender also. And we went to the mortgage broker. He also said the same thing. Okay. So that kind of process kind of just evolved on its own. But our real estate agent had been used to working with clients who had been with the same lender. So that was also nice.
Nice. And I've heard like some of those like newer build like subdivisions, they work with a preferred realtor. They work with a preferred lender as well. So that was it kind of like your situation?
I guess you could say so in a way. Even though I think, I will say yeah. It wasn't I guess the preferred lender, but it was definitely she was one of the real estate agents, a part of selling those properties. So yeah.
So looking back, if you had to choose like a part of the process that was the most daunting to you, like you had the closing process. I know we haven't touched on that yet. We're gonna get to that, but like if you had to just overall think, was it the finding the particular house? I mean, was building it how you wanted?
I will say it was the building and finding.
Like finding the land, like there was
finding when we decided that we wanted to buy a house, like finding the home itself and then being outbid was discouraging. And then when we decided, okay, the only thing that we can do now in order to secure a home is to build, dealing with the builder was the most horrendous part of the whole process. It was the whole horrendous part. Like if you're building a home, the builder, besides the real estate agent, is the most important person that you need to work with.
I got a question.
Yeah,
that's like a few. Probably should be. What type of loan did you and your partner decide to move forward with?
So we used a FHA loan.
Okay.
And so with FHA, you know, it's federally backed. And so there are pros and cons to that. It is great for first time home buyers. So if you're a first time home buyer and your credit score may not necessarily qualify for a conventional loan, which need your FICO needs to be like a 620. As the process went, my credit score actually exceeded that. But when we decided that this is what we wanted to do, it was like 608, something like that. So it didn't qualify for the conventional. So with the FHA, it was great for first time home buyers. Mississippi doesn't do well with loans and grants for first time home buyers. So that was like the best thing for us to do. And so a couple things, it's great for first time home buyers, but there also comes mortgage insurance in order to make sure that you are protecting the loan itself.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned it too.
Yes,
because a lot of people don't know. Like, if you do qualify for a conventional loan, you don't have to pay that mortgage
Right.
insurance. But even if you do an FHA, I heard that it was true that you could actually, if you put down like what 10% or something like that, then you pay your mortgage insurance only for like I want to say 11 years.
Yes.
Opposed to paying it over the life of the loan.
Exactly. So on the mortgage breakdown, when I look at all the payments, the mortgage insurance will actually drop off in about 11 years.
That's good.
That's good. Thank you for touching on that. I think a lot of people don't realize that when we get so used to like looking at Zillow and Zillow breakdown, so like what the payment should be, what everything looks like, and it's
like, girl,
girl,
please. No,
the reality is so different.
Reality
no man
is so different.
They're selling you a dream.
The pictures are nice, y'all.
They are very
ignore
cute.
the financial because it really depends on you.
Right, your financial
situation. Right. I am so glad that you mentioned an FHA loan because I have been kind of like looking into the process. You may not know the answer to this question, and we'll supply an answer later if you don't. But you cannot rent an FHA property bought with an FHA loan. Is that correct?
I want to say I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's in my mortgage documents. I think so. Like you cannot, which I mean that's
this is government backed.
Right, since it's government backed. But I mean you have a home, and if you let your home sit for a while, you can. Now that you're in the market, you can go buy another home to rent and start having other sources of income. Yeah,
I have been I have been looking at my first home. I wanted to be a duplex, so like I would live on one side. So I want to say the internet told me that I could like live on one side.
I want to get a duplex too, but I don't want to live there. I just want to like for my I'm gonna give y'all my tea. But like just for Airbnb, like get a duplex and have two of the same.
Everything, man.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I'm ready to. I'll put that for the people. I'm ready to get out the Airbnb game. The folks get on my nerves.
They
people
are
really
trying
bother me and irritate me. I'm really I'm friendly, but don't be texting me, don't be calling me, don't be messaging me. I do
get in here and sit down.
Yeah. Sit down. The pictures are what they are. You saw what you saw when you booked it. The price was cheap. Leave me alone. It's not the Hilton, it's not the Marriott, but it's nice. That's it.
Period.
I don't like catering to whims.
You're on a tangent again, y'all.
I am on a tangent. Let me tell you something.
Go off, friend.
Let me tell you something.
And another thing,
I am on a tangent. If you are looking to get into the Airbnb market, you have to have the time. Yes. Let me break something. Let me just break this one thing down.
Go ahead.
I clean my own Airbnb. I'm a professional cleaner. Hello. I claim it. I am. I be in there getting gassed out with my cleaning. Literally. But you can pay somebody else to clean it, but that's what your cleaning fee is used for. If you clean it yourself personally, the cleaning fee goes into your own pocket. It's a lot of time. Even if you have a cleaner, it's a lot of time that you have to kind of be able to communicate, available.
Because your customer service rep,
your customer service, right? All these things, Airbnb.com, booking, all the girls, like your response rate to a message is a part of like your score as an overall host. Yeah. So you just have to always be available. And I'm a person who I go home and I'm just
home.
I'm ready to relax and wind down because we still work.
My phone is on sleep. Yeah. I'm not really doing all the extra, but it's really taking me to a place where I want more long-term rentals.
That's true.
So which is why I'm interested in a duplex because I read online that certain loans, or with FHA loans, you do a duplex. You can rent out one side as long as
Okay.
the other side is your primary residence. You can sit around rent out the other side, and in Memphis, the way the Memphis market is set up, the other side can pay your home mortgage.
Yeah.
So
You living for
I know
free.
that may not be. You're living for free. Your checks will go to you. It depends on how much money you make or whatever. That's that. But I have definitely been looking into your FHA versus conventional because I want to start a process before I turn 30. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Sorry about. I'm the tangent queen.
And they are good tangents though. Like they are needed tangents. Because he just said some stuff I be wanting to say. I'm like, yes, get it.
He will say this.
Yeah, he gonna say it all.
Now, I did read that if you get a VA loan, you cannot.
Okay, so what is a VA loan for our viewers who don't know?
VA loans are for veterans.
Mm-hmm.
You served in the military. I don't know all the qualifications. My brother's in the military. He's gonna be a guest one day.
My stepdad's in the
He's an
military.
officer. He's an officer track. He just commissioned as officer. So we'll definitely have him on as
And that's what I want to ask you as well, because I know you said you were a school teacher, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, were there any type of loans offered to you just as an educator? So I know sometimes, like, fire department, police officers, educators, they
do get those here in Memphis for sure.
So I know for Mississippi, I mean, yes, they do, but then it's like, here's the thing. Exactly. Like, is it in the best area? And it's way outside of where I was working or my partner was working. So it was a kind of a no. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure there may be more. I just was like, I'm not going to go down that path.
Because you typically have to work in that same zip code or in that area.
There are time restrictions of how long you have to stay there and all.
Okay, gotcha.
And with the currency that we're in, I know because I've kind of looked into this option years ago. Most of those types of programs are based on zip code. So there's certain zip codes that you can buy a house in. Like it has to be within. They have a list. It has to be within this zip code. Anything else, no. And it has to be your primary residence.
Oh, and also I would say that like the rule for like places like the South, the rule, I think it's like the rule to USDA loan. Yes, that's also a good option. It's also based on zip code and it's also based on income, so you could qualify for a lot more based on what your area is to that loan.
And it just depends on your situation. Are you willing to travel? Do you want to be isolated?
Right.
I'm okay. Like I don't mind like a rural property. My dream home is on a plot of land where I can't see anybody.
Really?
That is ours.
Absolutely. Now
I want to be in the city.
We're all three of us are from Mississippi.
Yes, country.
And
like small
country.
town.
Mississippi raised.
Yeah.
I was raised in the capital city, but my parents are my father is from the country, so I spend most of my time there. I love it. If there was a Target, a Starbucks,
not Target,
a Walmart, and I can get my haircut within like 20-25 minutes, I'm fine. I am fine. If my Amazon packages made it, I'm good. That's how I know, like, I'm in a good.
And that's what
it may be better out there too, because the girls like to steal packages too. But I won't get into it because now I feel a tangent.
I will go back on another tangent on these property management companies, on these UPS, FedEx, all the workers.
Every time I talk to you,
I appreciate
it.
I had a package stolen for my birthday. Shout out to Joy. Thank you for the gift that I never received.
We shout out Joy every episode.
I know. You guys will see Joy soon. But Eric, if you're watching, that's my neighbor.
Stop it.
I am. I'm on demon time. Woo. I know you stole my package. It's your doormat. I knocked on your door. You did not answer. I will be back.
We coming today with this wine in hand. Do you hear me?
You're gonna run that package. But anyway.
Or you're gonna run that round.
You can. It's gonna be both, regardless. Because at this point, you was playing in my face.
Listen, y'all. But anyway, the package. I feel like, and I'd be so mad because I was like, these folks gonna think I'm a scammer because I'm always reporting my doggone package gone. Right. It's like, child.
I don't think you stealing them, huh?
Exactly. It's me. I'm collecting a coin in the package. I know a few people who get down like that, but I cannot.
Well,
I can't. Like my conscience, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and I already don't go to sleep. So There's that. Back into
Commercial break over. Commercial is over.
back into this home. Let me ask you this. So we've been through a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Walk us through closing.
Oh, yes.
What's the closing process?
Oh.
And then speak on your experience. You said that you built a home.
Mm-hmm.
So you built this home. You and your partner are showing up. You both are giving orders. Like, how was that experience for the both of you? Did you feel like they were welcoming? Did you feel like they were kind of like taken aback that these two guys here buying this house, doing this together? Did you have to check somebody? Did somebody say?
Oh, I feel like somebody got checked.
Oh, okay.
So walk us through that as two gay black men in America.
If y'all could see the look on the Million's face right now, he is here, and he's like, "Oh,
Jay's partner is sitting to our side."
I will say, and that's why our real estate agent Dominique was absolutely amazing, because we didn't learn until after the fact. Not only were we on his ass, the builder's ass, she was also behind the scenes on his ass, like all the time. The builder is the reason why we closed 2, 3, 4 months beyond what was expected.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to close in June. They did not start actually putting the frame up to the home in June.
Because you can't close until you at a certain percentage of being done, right? Or
Right.
Is it 100%?
For us, it had to be 100% done.
Okay.
So the home had to be completely done. It had to have the final walkthrough. The city, the county had to sign off on all the permits. And
let me ask you this while we're there. Do you think is it like a builder's thing? So whenever someone's dealing with a builder, do you advise them to anticipate needing a little bit extra time, or do you think it was because of you?
I think a lot of things played into that. I think our builder was lazy and was not communicating with the people he subcontracted out to. That's number one. Number two, I do think a lot of things were supply issues.
Okay.
But number three,
because there's a wood shortage too, right?
Yeah,
it was at the
during
time.
COVID.
During COVID.
And then number three, we were very cognizant about we are two queer couples, and so being very cognizant of where we live, where we chose to live, the people that we dealt with, we were very cognizant of that. But I honestly think that was not a factor in the hiccups and the hangups that happened.
We're gonna have to
Y'all say you're right.
Let's keep going.
And so I will say that over communicating, staying with your build, staying if they tell you a timeline or something's supposed to be done, making sure that you are on them, making sure that you have their number, make sure you're always texting them. I think those things are very important.
And did you have like a role in picking your builder,
Yeah.
or just a recommendation, or what?
So the way it worked was the builder. Usually, if you're doing building like a subdivision or something like that, the builder probably has bought all the land, all the plots of land, so they are in charge of building all the homes. Mm-hmm. But we did pick out like how we wanted the home to look, and so we did have a part in that process. But as far as building in that situation, we didn't have a choice of the builder. I know that in the future, when we do get that plot of land out in the middle of the country, we're going to hand pick the builder.
I love it.
I think I asked about closing.
Yes, walk us through closing. Give us an overview, like what closing is, because I think for people who have not started the process, that seems to always be the most daunting process to them or us, because I have not bought a home. So, like, what is closing? What was the process like? Like, walk us through like what's all considered closing. Like, what did you have to do before you close a home, before you get that key, before you take that picture with that sign?
Right, because that's all you see. You see that nice picture with the key. Makes it like it's all easy.
Oh no, it's okay. I will say signing the documents themselves are a breeze. Like the person that you're signing, person that you go with, that was a breeze. But as far as signing is concerned, it happens really quick. Like my agent called me one day. She was like, "Okay, I think we're ready to close." And within there were emails that came back to back. There were things that I had to send back to the loan people, things I had to send back to the agent. It went from nothing to, oh, we're about to close. Like, this is the day. And so I will say that you do not have your home until you have signed those papers and they have taken the papers and they have balanced the account. They balance the account to make sure all the money is out. And
escrow
then,
stuff,
yes, all the escrow, and then your agent should call you and say, everything's good, now you can move in. Because she told us, if you sign the papers and you go move your stuff into your house and something happens with escrow, the builder or the seller technically now owns the things you have moved into your home.
Oh,
and that's something
okay.
that I didn't know about.
And I'm pretty sure there are people out there that would, that's set up territory.
Yes, and she said this actually happened to one of her clients before. So I will say that. But you'll get a clear to close email. You'll have to send some things back. Being very communicative. I didn't say that word. Yeah. And then doing things in a timely manner is super important, because if you miss something, then that could delay your closing, which with at that time interest rates were going up like every so many days, which is going to add on to your payment. So those things are
gotcha. So until you close, your interest rate is not set.
Yeah, until we locked it in, but we had to push it back another like 2 weeks, and that made our payment go up because interest rates went back up, because it's only locked for a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And then once that lock period has passed, then they have to redo the loan again.
You can't do any of that until it's built as well, right?
Yep. But I say the signing process. So we went in. He came in with a stack of papers. It was, as long as the first, I think, 2 pages are correct, then the rest of it is just like, he's like, sign here, sign here, sign here. He's like, okay, congratulations, we're gonna go balance the account now.
Okay. Thank you for walking us through the process. So I've got one other question. Freddie, you have any more like mortgage home questions?
Not mortgage home questions, but I guess I do want to ask this.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel like there were any difficulties with the process that came just because, you guys were Black gay men, or?
I will say, when we were picking out certain things, because we had to go to certain places that the builder recommended that he was buying his supplies from. And I think just being Black and walking in some of those places that are dominantly white, it is automatically, I don't know if it's because of how we grow up that you're always automatically uncomfortable, but you can kind of sense that people don't want to help
feel
you.
The energy. Yeah, the vibe. Yeah.
It's a Southern thing.
Yes,
and we're not only Southern, but we're deep
in the South.
We're deep Southern. We're Mississippi Southern, so it's all you're always on alert if you walk into a space and you're not the majority. Like
exactly.
It's in our DNA for safety. We have to be, so definitely understand.
And even when we were doing
they give it.
Right, they do.
They're giving it. Yeah.
And even on the final walkthrough, I sat in the car because I was like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want him to see a gay couple and there's something that he could pull out, and then we lose the home altogether. And then, but our real estate agent, she was like, "Why are you sitting in the car?" And then she told my partner, and she was like, "Oh no, there's nothing he can do right now. Legally, there's nothing he can do to back out of this loan." So, but I think that just comes with, how people operate, especially in the areas like the South. Yeah. And so you always come with an extra level of vigilance and caution, because people can just take things away from you, especially in the climate that we're in right now.
And I hate that we have to move like that, because I try to think about everything in a way, even like in the Airbnb business, like certain information and things, like I don't like to give people, like, you won't even see like a picture of me on my account because I know how certain people move. Like they might not want to even stay here just because of the color of my skin.
Right.
So I hate that that's a reality, and then even in this house buying situation, that's a reality. But
I hate I even have to say this, but the one place where my picture is up is the place where I get less bookings. Like,
so
like
Airbnb. Take it
what's
down.
wrong with them?
See, but like that's the reality.
Oh, cut it.
Like,
you have to chop it.
And I won't. But I probably got like 0 bookings. Like,
really,
last month from there. I get all my bookings from the place where they can't. They see my name, but they don't know who I am. I get like a crazy amount of bookings from where they cannot see who I am.
We just shows you the reality of
the world,
right? Like you feel it, and it's true. It's true. Right. Yeah.
So now I can ask my question. We are here. We're Black. We're queer. you're in this home buying process.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us a little about how we know you are the we both know that you and your partner chose you to be the one to go through this
Yeah.
process. So what's the safety in this process for him? So how do you make sure that something happens to you? Like how did you ensure that he continues to own this home? That this is his home as well as your home. So what's built into you guys' relationship or into the mortgage or legally? Like what do you have built in because you're not married? Technically, you went through the mortgage process, you signed the deed. So what's in it for him to say that he has some type of safety net or ownership in this house that you all built together?
Right.
That's a great question.
I since we bought the house, I've been doing a lot of death talk. Is what he calls it, because I never want to die and leave him in a situation to where everything is gone, because he is just as much of an owner in this house as I am.
And that's a huge thing in our community when we enter into partnerships, because we were not always allowed to even be married. And it was still so long before every state would recognize it. So your partner dies, everything that you have,
you gotta have a will or something.
It would go to the partner's family, and they may not like you, or it may be,
and death always bring out the worst in people,
right? Or you think that they like you, and then no, we're coming to grab everything,
and I don't want that to happen.
Right.
Exactly. And so what we did, we talked to our agent about it, and she said you go to where you sign the loan, and you do what's called a quick claims deed. So if I die, he's already signed his name on the deed. That's how his name got added. So if I die, the house is his.
Okay, so say what that is one more time. What's the name of that?
You call the person who you sign, or a lawyer, and say, I want to do some estate planning. And so when you tell them that, you say you want to do a quick claims deed, and then they will add whoever's name to the deed that you want. So that person now is the house is legally theirs.
Okay, so you went and got the mortgage. You've already closed on the home.
This is after the fact.
You've got the deed. Your name is on the deed. You then go back to the source and say, hey, I want to do a quick claims deed. And then you added your partner's name onto that deed. So now the home is both of you also.
Both of ours. And so, and even beyond that, I'm like, okay, how do I put his name on my accounts? Or get a will, because my goal is I want him, if I were to die, I want him to have enough time to figure out what is he going to do, and knowing I don't want anyone to ever take that away from him. So
I love it.
Beautiful. And and this is like, all the episodes is important, but I really wanted you to speak to that, because we often think of the front end. We're in the home, we're happy, but we don't do the back end work.
Right.
And God forbid something happens to either one of us. We don't want to be in a situation where both families are kind of tearing apart the things that we as a couple have built
together. Yeah.
So, and the quick claims deed, for all of you all who are out there watching who are not queer or don't identify as LGBTQ, if you are straight, you can also have you can also do this process of quick claims deed if you're not married and you want to buy.
There are a lot of even married couples who they only choose one person to be on the loan. And so what happened? Well, in that case, they have a safety net because they're married. Yeah. But for single couples, straight couples, this is for anybody. This does not necessarily have to be because you're queer.
And let me ask you this, because we're having this conversation, and of course we already know that you went through the mortgage process. So the down payment, how did you all decide on who would pay what of the down payment? You guys split it down the middle, or
and how long does it take you guys to save up for it?
So I will say that we were blessed that his family was able to gift us money. I know a lot of people aren't in that situation, but that's
smart.
That's
to the
black family. That's very smart. Y'all
to the
game.
To a black family having some generational wealth. To get that. Yo, you hear that? You hear that, y'all? That's my mama, y'all.
So that was
about to have to come out the pocket.
Come out of pocket, yo.
So what I did as far as taking my name up on the loan, his side was his family was able to gift us money. And so that was important. That allowed us to not only secure the home, but we were able to close the home with equity because of the balance of what we bought the home and the down payment.
And that really kind of like balances out you all's process.
Yes.
Like you both were part of the process.
Yeah, with the debt to income ratio.
Exactly. And then on the back end, you both own this home together.
Beautiful.
It is absolutely amazing.
He dropped so many gems just coming and
Yeah.
sharing his process. Like, I hope everybody's paying attention. And if not, just rewind and go back. Watch it again if you must. But he shared a lot of good stuff. And
yeah. So as soon as you sign on your home, you're gonna get like stuff out of the woodworks talking about people are like just trying to collect your information. Like because your loan and your deed, that's public record. Anyone can go and kind of see, oh, they recently bought a home.
Just a quick Google search.
Yeah, or even when you're about to close, like people will be like, oh, it's time for to close. Would you please wire us this money? And it's not even the people who you're supposed to be wiring it to. So a lot of people have lost their home because they wired their down payment and their closing money to the wrong
wow.
Wow.
So who on your, I'll call it your home buying team, do you talk to verify that? Is it the lender? Is it the real estate agent? Right? Or is it like, who do you call
the
in situations
lender?
like this?
The lender. So there's lender, and then what's the hardest part is underwriting. That's when they go through all of your finances, when they go through all of your transactions. The person who's in the underwriting, they're going to give you a packet that says when it's time to wire the money, they're going to give you all the information. So it's almost like I don't know what they call it. I can't remember. I remember her name was Wendy. She sent us all the information that said this is where you wire it to. This is how much money you wire it. This is how much money you wire, and they give you all the codes. So if anyone other than that person contacts you, then you may want to double check. And I double checked. Like I contacted Wendy, like, hey, I got this information. Is this you? And she was like, yeah, this is me.
Okay. Good. So you all, I know you're going to be like excited when you get to that process about home, and you're just going to be ready to send that money out the door.
Don't do that.
Right. Please don't.
So please don't.
Vet your emails. Vet whoever you transfer this money to. It's a whole lot of money. It's a lot of money for a down payment. So yeah, you gotta.
And it's scary because you're making a very large purchase. Probably the largest purchase that normal people make in their lifetime.
With that being said, do you and your partner, do you all have any regrets?
I don't
throughout the entire process, not just the home you picked.
I don't think so. I think it all worked out. At least I don't have any regrets. I don't think we ever talked about having any regrets. Could we have done things differently? Could things have happened? Of course, there's always room to change and improve. But I think we know moving into the next property, we know what we're going to do and not going to do. Who we're going to build the home and not going to build the home. Right. And all that process. And he's very good about being on people, where I'm more of a gentle person. He lays it down.
I'm just saying. Let me tell you something. He gonna beat you down.
Keith is taking the other way to head, and I just be like,
that's why they get along so well. I know it's another layer under hell, and Kara would go directly there to the side door. I'm like, wait a minute, it's steps before we get this upset.
Oh, no.
It's steps before we make it.
But I appreciate that, though.
Yeah, you need it. It's a perfect balance. It is.
It's perfect balance. So that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
So just a quick recap for everybody that's been watching. So steps to the process of buying a home. You got to go through the pre-approval process to get your loan. You have to find your mortgage broker or your real estate agent.
Well, Jeremy suggested that they find a mortgage lender before the real estate agent.
Yes.
So that's his suggestion.
Unless you're in a situation where you are real good friends with someone and they're already a real estate agent, maybe they can recommend you to someone. So I think it's either way. I guess you have to
would you have chosen a friend?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
Oh.
Would you have chosen a friend?
I don't know if I would have been as honest if I would have chosen a friend, even though I know my friend would have been in my best interest. I don't know.
You mean like in finances? Because is it money?
It's so raw.
I don't know even in that, but as far as what I want and what I'm willing to say, oh no, you missed the mark.
Oh, okay.
Like I think from that aspect.
It's like, girl, you ain't cutting it.
Right. And I'm going to have to cut you off.
Like, I don't want to miss up our friendship, exactly. But you ain't got together.
Okay, cool. Like the same.
All right, so you find your mortgage and your real estate. Either way. Then you shop the home that you want and you make a bidding. can be a daunting process because sometimes
Yeah.
you can bid over and still not get the seller might not want you for whatever reason. And then once you bid for the house, then the next thing you do, what about inspection and appraisals? Did you guys have to go through that process?
Yes, and I will tell anyone: do not skip on the inspection because that's as a buyer, that's your last ground to make sure that whoever's selling you that's your last layer of protection.
Right.
Because sometimes people will waive those inspection fees, and what if something happens to the home, and you only can find that out through an inspection.
Right.
So I would tell people always have an inspection.
Tangent. One of my other good friends, black guy, queer guy, bought a home and they missed something during the inspection. It cost him tens of thousands of dollars.
Ooh.
And the buyer lied about it, of course, but there were like roots growing under his home that literally shifted, like the foundation was just like, oh, well, this is what happened. They put up the carpet, and then once all the carpet was up, you could see the cracks in the concrete, and it was from roots from the trees. It was a mess. So
important to get your inspection.
Get your inspection. Yes. I think your appraisal is mandatory. The inspection can be waived, but the appraisal, I think, is mandatory.
Tell me about
And these are fees that the buyer has to pay for, correct?
Yeah. No, I pay for the inspection. We have to pay for the inspection. Right. I think in our situation, I had to pay for it, but those things can be negotiated, I think, if you're buying someone who has a house that's already built.
So answer me this: would you happen to pay for the inspection? I know when you're buying a home, they tell you not to use your credit cards or this. So is this money that you had to have on hand, or could you?
You can still use your credit cards and things. And they do check your credit again. Right the day of closing, they will run your credit one more time to make sure you have it. So do not go buy a house when you get a car when you get your credit code. Please don't do that.
Don't go to Ashley's and put it in and start their furniture process.
Please.
Not Ashley.
We're Southern. We're Southern, so the Southern folks love Ashley's Home Store. Don't you go get that furniture and you ain't closing on your house because their credit score gonna drop.
Exactly.
Don't you go.
Good tidbit.
Good tidbit.
That's so important. And so I forgot what you even asked me.
So silly.
The inspection, because I know that I had some infringement about homes, but that they're kind of like watching. But they told me that they're kind of like watching your finances. Yes. So is that money that you need to have on hand, money for your inspection?
Yeah, I say, and I think all of that was also wrapped up in the final closing costs.
Okay.
So I think that's how that worked. To be honest, I can't even remember. I just know I paid a large amount of money at the end, but I think when they give you the breakdown, the inspection is part of it. You can pick your inspector, and so we made sure we picked someone who had nothing to do with any part of the process, so they can be unbiased. But I will say, keep a good tab on your accounts. I had to keep my account together for almost a good year and a half. I had to keep my credit and my bank account all in I was really strict about what I bought, what I didn't buy, things like that.
Let me ask you this: did you? Yes or no question? Did you pick your appraiser?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's
Okay. I was reading this article about this black couple who just won a lawsuit against an appraisal company because the initial appraisal was so much lower than what they expected. So they had their white friend come in, took their pictures down, same company, and the appraisal was almost $300,000 higher than what the last. And they
we just talked about this.
Exactly
how people treat you differently just because of the way that you look,
and that's
it's a reality.
Right. It is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Right.
Okay, so you do the inspection, then you get a good appraiser that's not going to judge you based off the color of your skin. Give you the actual value of the home, so you're not just paying this ridiculous price, or So then you go to the closing.
Yep.
And then after that, you have a home. You get your keys, and you can move in, and it's happily ever after with your dog in the backyard, making adjustments.
Oh, yeah,
mortgage transfer.
Like, what is the mortgage? I don't remember that part. I do know that there's like.
Are we talking about the gift or?
I think it's something with the county where they take. I can't remember. Oh yes. So so the mortgage when you go through a mortgage broker, they sometimes will sell your mortgage to someone else. The person who actually. So if you go through a bank, the bank is going to be the person you pay to. Because we went through a mortgage lender, they have to sell the loan to someone else, and we have to pay. And then that's who we pay. I forgot.
So that's your lender.
Yeah, that's my lender.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll get fake information from that too, because we got several like within like a month we were getting things from people that saying you need to do this, you need to get this mortgage insurance, and I calling the people like no, we don't send that
out. Okay,
gotcha.
So yeah, and we'll put if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see at this point you will see all the steps on the screen. Yes, you'll see all the steps.
Shout out to our editor.
Shout out to
LD. He does it all, child. He's
shout out to a work in progress.
Not a work in progress.
Shout out to our stylist. Because I'm never know.
So just to wrap up, like, okay, is there anything else you would like our audience to know about the home buying process that we may not have touched, or anything that you wish you would have done differently, or that you will do differently? Just anything that you want to leave the audience with.
Is that the name of that mortgage thing again? The deed.
Oh, quick claim deed.
Quick claim deed.
That's people who aren't married.
That is so important for our queer community.
Yes.
Quick claim deeds.
And I say
get it in writing, baby.
Yes, get it in writing. I say I think the biggest thing is if you want to buy a house and you know you want to, go ahead and reach out to someone so you know where you stand and what you need to work. Because I think that if I would have never done that, then we would never ended up where we are. Because it took time. Did it take time for me to kind of correct some things with my credit? It did. But I'm glad I started when I did because it kind of all like evolved the way it did.
Right.
Would you encourage several conversations with your partner? Because we know at the end of the process, you being the sole owner of the home have to be the one to initiate the quick claims deed. So right. So for those out there, you want to make sure you have clear communication and clear plan.
Yeah.
To end up, you don't want to get to the end of the process and they decide to not put
it's like, oh girl, no ma'am.
Yeah,
this is my
home.
And I guess a lot of that comes through trust, but I definitely think you should have a lot of conversations, and even about where you want to live, because there were some sacrifices. I sacrificed time. I have to drive longer, but I gained other things in return. So because when you buy the home, a new phase of the relationship starts, which is moving in and trying to create a home together. That's a whole new different.
That's exciting, different though.
It is. It's just, it's tense sometimes, but
yeah, I thought it's exciting if you're. I know my relationship, we were both home people, so it's gonna be okay, you know what? Just you choose this room. You do whatever you want with this one. I'm gonna choose this one, and we're gonna do
your own separate spaces.
To be in creative control of how it's going to look.
And I think that's important. I had to learn that to rely on his strengths because I'm so used to being in control of things, and he's really great at design and picking out things and knowing how things go together. And I just got to be like, I'm okay. I had to learn to be okay with it. And
to pull it back and get your hand off of it.
And get my hand off of it. And then I'm still learning it.
So let me ask you this.
Me too.
Since you're on the couch, before we wrap it up, what was your one non-negotiable? Did you have one? What was the one thing you was I could not negotiate over? I have to have this.
I don't even
maybe a kitchen island, stairs, maybe.
Oh,
a wine fridge. What was the one thing where you was
I need my closet space. We had to separate.
Was it the refrigerator?
Not the refrigerator.
I think mine was I have to have space.
Okay.
I mean, we have neighbors, but it's not where I have
You're saying space on the outside.
I had to have some space. Where you normally growing up in, I could reach out my window and touch the other house. Now I actually have to walk if I want to get to my neighbor.
That's good.
I think that was a big non-negotiable for both of us.
Nice.
So the end is on the positive note. How did you all celebrate?
Well, I don't know. We haven't. I mean, we haven't. We've had plans. A year is coming up in a couple of months. We thought about doing a housewarming party in a year. But it was like when it started, it was like all ground.
We need a house for
We
him.
do.
He said it's on way.
I've been out to the estate.
I've been
out to the estate.
We're gonna report back.
And the kitchen is banging. And friend is a baker and a cooker.
I love it.
And all the things.
Make us a little something.
Let me tell you, I've been waiting on my cake, cookies, chips, muffins for 2 crumbles, everything for like 2 or 3 years.
Not crumbles.
Won't get it.
Oh God.
Unless we go to the house.
You're right. So we're gonna pressure him, y'all, to get a house for him.
But this was fun. Thank y'all.
No, thank you for coming and sharing all of this with us and with our audience. It's been very enlightening, to say the least. And, I feel more prepared just from sitting here and talking with you.
Good.
Absolutely. And I'm the same. I feel like this was like an important conversation that we needed to have because just from myself going to therapy, I know that every queer couple's dream is not to be conventionally married.
Yes.
So how do we have something together, have a home together, create like a space together? And you have done just that.
Absolutely.
And again, we thank you for sharing what your journey was to get to that process, to make sure that you both have ownership, to make sure that you both are loving the space that you're in, and and really like taking us into your relationship because you had to answer some questions. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hand clap.
Hand clap for Jeremy.
Our very first guest too. This is
and he's our first. Yeah. And best believe with Ron DeSantis in Florida attacking education, he'll be back to talk about education on another episode.
He said, "Leave me to."
But we appreciate your time. For you and your partner, like being open and vulnerable to share your home buying experience with us. We'll continue to bring you great guests.
Yes.
To talk about our community, man, Black, being at the intersection of Black and queer, and what we can do to protect and enlighten ourselves. So, again, I am LD.
I am Percy.
This is Jeremy,
and we are
To Go Mics.
Peace.
All right, so we're in our last segment of the episode. Homework. Last week, my homework for you all was to read a news article. Find you a source of information that is unbiased as possible. I know it seems impossible, but something outside of social media to make sure that you're getting correct and accurate information from a journalist. So I hope you have done that. I have found great information this week by going outside of my normal channels of news, which is Instagram. Friend, what was your homework for last week?
Yes, my homework was to advocate for yourself. So no matter whether this at your job or in your personal life relationship, you are to advocate for what's inside, what you see here or feel here. So so just advocate for yourselves.
Okay. So let's say, what's the homework for this week? Homework for this week, I really haven't put any thought.
I know, because I just been trying to survive. I am surviving. But
we gotta give people something. I'll go. It is spring, you all. Spring has just started. As I said, spring is the time of renewal and refresh. It's a time for new growth. My homework is to get organized. That's my homework for you all this week. Get organized. Now, this season is truly the season where you set the tone for the rest of the year. I know main world, we're kind of used to doing that in January, but, in the essence of what is earth, what is spirit, all those things, even biblical, spring is the perfect time for you to do those things, to see that progress. So I'll tell you this week, get organized. You don't have to get your whole life organized, You don't have to get your whole office, a whole room organized, but find you something to organize. It's going to make your life easier and stick to it. So for myself, I'm going to get my new board up. I'm going to get all of my information up there just to make my life a little bit easier and setting the tone for the year. So that's my homework for this week. Find something to organize. Get organized. It's spring. Renew something in your life.
I know that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna do that homework because I gotta organize my emails. They are out of control,
Mm.
and it has been
And you've been saying it
on
for
my
a
mind. I
while.
know. I know. I'm gonna have to get to it. So when we do the check in on the homework, we're gonna see if I did my extra homework this time. But the homework time I leave with you all is very quick. I just say take that first step in something, whatever that something is for you. It may be take the step to fill out a certain job application. It's just about creating that action for whatever it is you need to do. If you're trying to get in school, fill out this school application. Um, whatever it may be. I don't know. It could be a multiple.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Grow your wings on the way
yeah,
down.
yeah, exactly. Grow your wings on the way down, child, and just take that first step and make an action
Friend, that's
out of some stuff.
perfect. It ties into this whole thing with getting organized with spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's the time to plant those seeds. So yes, take that first step this season with intent, with action, because you can't have intention without action, and it will grow.
Yeah,
It's literally the season for growth. So
I'm gonna see if I can take this first step in the morning and get to the gym because
I'm gonna
it's
miss that
needed. Child.
one.
You're gonna miss that step.
I'm gonna miss that step. I might miss that step. Look, I'm trying to think of how my day going tomorrow. You know what time you going to the gym?
It's gonna be early, so 6.
Text me,
Uh-huh.
call me one time. But I answer the first time. It's not personal. It's nothing personal. But call me. I'm gonna do my best to get my butt up and get on the treadmill or something.
Got
Something.
you. I got
Okay.
you.
Especially since I'm gonna miss my little haircut, but you all, this has been a super, super duper long episode. We hope you learned something from us today. We want to, again, give a special shout out to my bestie Jeremy that you saw on screen. We also want to give a special shout out to his partner,
Yes.
Million, who was off screen and still kind of helping us guide the conversation
Right.
as well.
For
Just want
sure.
to give a shout out to them and, just send some blessings as they are still getting settled into their happy home.
Yes.
Any like last thoughts for the people?
Uh, no less thoughts, y'all. I am exhausted. I know y'all probably can tell, but I am exhausted. So y'all get y'all some rest, get y'all some sleep, because you can't perform and do what you need to do unless you are taking care of yourself. Oh, and friend, thank you. First of all, before we leave, I want to thank my friend and his partner for my birthday gift for giving me the massage because I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna use that. So
did
yeah,
you
get
did
y'all
you
some
listen
rest
to
and
the card?
relaxation.
Did you listen to the card?
Yes, I meant to bring it so I can play it for you all. I'm gonna bring that card just so y'all can hear it. It was so shady but hilarious. Like I
Oh, when I
loved it.
tell you, I was on the phone in the store like they don't have no black cards. What a mahogany collection! I had hit the corner whole section for Easter cards, so I want to find out who give out Easter cards. Where's the mahogany collection?
Like, who
I
does?
was looking around like, where's the mahogany collection? Then I just happened to look. I was like, and then he was like, just get something here. And I was like, no. Like, if I'm going to give a card, I want it to be a black ass card.
Yeah,
I
it
was like,
was
he's like,
perfect
Black
too.
History Month is that? I don't give a Where's the mahogany collection? Do you hear me? And I would ask, do you have a mahogany collection? Okay, wrong store.
I know that's right. I'm gone.
I'm gone. Thank you.
Oh, it
Thank
was
you.
so
But the card
perfect.
was so perfect. I was like, I
It
had to
was very
get this one.
perfect.
So you get a black ass card for your 31st.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, y'all. Well, we didn't finish our drinks today because we are exhausted.
I'm
But
dead tired. Y'all know I love a good drink.
you're probably like pushing like a little over 2 hours this week. We are continuing to grow. I'm gonna thank y'all for bearing with us. Next season we'll have better mics, child. But right now we're just having a good
All
time.
right, still running these views up.
We're
Humble
gonna run them.
beginnings.
Run it up. Again, I'm LD.
I am Percy, and I am the guy Louis.
And this is Two Go Mics.
Peace,
Peace.
y'all.